Today, we have the pleasure of sitting down with Mr. David Mustafa, the principal of Holmes Grammar School located in Melbourne. He's bringing with him over 3 decades of invaluable experience in education with a rich background spanning from both government and independent sectors across various schools in Australia. David is truly an expert in this field. So we do have a few questions for you today, and hopefully, and definitely it'll clear lots of things out for our students.
Good, I'm happy to be here.
Thank you, David. So the first question for you is, in your experience, what are the common challenges for the international students, including Vietnamese one, when transitioning to Australian high schools?
Yeah, look, and let's talk about the Vietnamese because we've had so many of those students come into our school. But if we speak more broadly, I get asked that question about how they should prepare in coming in that transition. So there are some aspects to that. Having a strong foundation in English language is critical. And I say that for 2 reasons. First of all, that foundation in English language is really what they require to then move into a school setting and to be learning and educated under our system. Yes. All right. So in the classroom and in their interactions with teachers and students is critical. But part of that transition for students and those coming in Vietnam is they're moving to a brand new country, brand new city, brand new environment, and often living in a homestay situation for accommodation purposes. And that assimilation into the wider community is really important.
Yeah.
So again, the requirement of English language, where there's a confidence level to converse and interact, is really important. We want them to be happy.
Yes.
And that happiness really is about where they are encouraged to assimilate, to integrate with us as Australians living there in a different culture, different country.
Yes.
Yeah.
So language barriers definitely, I think. So what proactive measures can the student take to cope with those?
Yeah, well, that all starts here. So, in preparation for coming over, they should be trying to, develop English language skills, and whether that be formally through an IELTS or English language in schools, whatever, be proactive and productive in just developing that and getting as much as that, sorted and lay a foundation for when they arrive. To understand the culture is a good approach. Do some research there.
Yes.
Australians we're a very multicultural society. We hail from all sorts of backgrounds and nationalities. But understanding, there is a way of life there that might be different to here, and expectations. So that could be important as well. But that's part of the decision to study overseas, isn't it? Because they want that experience, some cultural exposure to another country.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's not just studying anymore. It's lots of research. It's a whole new, way of approach education, of getting the knowledge from the school.
Yeah, and a good thing is to talk to others that might have already had that experience.
Definitely.
Right, so they may know students that are already currently, and that they tell them, well, this is the challenge.
Yes.
You be prepared for this.
Super effective.
Yeah.
So do you think solely achieving the high score in IELTS or PT is enough for the students to perform well in Australia?
Oh, there's no doubt that helps, because again, that relates to the point I made before about English language. If they come with a high level of English, or at least an adequate level of English, that will help. But the other part to that is they've got to be prepared to stay open to experience, be prepared to, have a level of confidence where they are engaging not only within the school context they're going to, but with others.
Yes.
All right, so they should make a plan on which to be out there, interact. All right, don't be introverted. Find a way of engaging and whatever. I think that's important, because I will say that by and large, a lot of the Vietnamese lack some confidence initially.
Yes.
All right. But it does develop and grow very quickly. And exploring outside of the direct Vietnamese communities that we have in Melbourne, and we have a lot, but just immersion is wider than that.
Yes.
All right? I think that helps. Yeah.
So there is a very a quote I saw in the movie I watched last night. So if you don't prepare to look stupid, nothing great will come.
Well, that's absolutely. So it's an element of risk taking, isn't it? And, you know,
Definitely.
But you know, do it.
Are there any specific extracurricular activities, clubs that, you know?
Yeah, well,
high school?
and look, that's one way of reaching out and just getting out there a bit further. So, you know, we appreciate that they're going to be in the classroom sitting with, you know, students who have English as their first language in a lot of school contexts. All right. However, schools by and large, both private, independent and government schools, offer a co-curricular program.
Yes.
And within that extends to sport.
Yes.
And that extends to music and drama and the arts, the area of the arts and debating and public speaking. Great opportunity, again, just in a slightly different context, to be assimilating, interacting, developing a level of confidence.
Yes.
So those sorts of opportunities should be taken.
Yes.
All right? Rather than just only take the academic classroom side, look for opportunities that a school may offer, and they all do, to, you know, in areas of interest that they have. So that can be really productive, and there's a lot of growth with that.
Yes.
Yeah.
How important it is to have that mindset from an early stage.
I think it's really important. There is a personality part to play in this though, because some students are naturally more confident and more outgoing than other student. But I think that's really important, and that's part of the preparation we're talking about. Be prepared to reach out.
Any advice you would give to our students to have a successful transition to Australian high school?
Be ready to embrace the experience, because a decision's been made. Family have sat down with parents and family and said, yes, you know, we want you, and often driven by the student, I hope themselves. I really would like to go and study, you know, and I really want to go over abroad, and I'd love to do that in Australia. I mean, there are choices. Australia's a good choice.
Definitely.
Right. But be prepared to embrace the experience. You know, the way I look at my students is this. We're trying to, you know, we're trying to generate a level of success for all of them in their study. But the growth as an individual and them personally is just as rewarding.
Yes.
You see that growth as they mature.
Yes.
Through the levels. So my advice to all students and families considering this is embrace the opportunity.
Beautiful, that's gold. What do you think is the attraction of Holmes Grammar Schools to the international students and to Vietnamese students?
Yeah, look, firstly, we're a senior high school program, so our focus is completely on delivering the government certificate in Victoria, which is the Victorian Certificate of Education. And I think what sets us apart and why we potentially are a good option, we are exclusively an international school, all international students, no domestic students. It means that we have an experience and understanding of the needs and challenges that international students face.
Yes.
To complete this qualification. Our teachers are all trained as specialists in delivering to students who have English as their second language. So again, all our students are ESL learners. In a big government school and big independent school, the international student cohort is quite small. And the rest are all the domestic Australian students. Many of our students prefer this environment where they are all ESL learners together. The other thing, I think, a large responsibility is ensuring success with getting and obtaining the VCE, but also, given under the student visa, we're experienced in providing welfare and guardianship, and we're really experienced at placing students in accommodation, under approved accommodation, of which we are obligated and have responsibility to check, respect, inspect and monitor. So all those things together, I think, make us a really good choice, because parents can feel really comfortable that we know what we're doing.
Yes.
And we're doing it for all our students because they're all international students. If it's a senior high school program, I think from that point of view, we are a really good option.
So lots of the parents here, they want to send them to Australia and they expect them to connect with Australian people, Australian students, but they struggle with English. And earlier, I remember you told me that lots of the students in Vietnam, they don't even have IELTS coming to Australia in high school. And they struggle with the English barrier.
Yeah.
And that really set out the difference here when they are placed in an environment that's best for them to thrive, to learn, to engage in the community, to learn from the expert from Australia.
And remember, English is the first language, the way our students communicate, because we've got a mix of nationalities. So everyone has to speak English in the context of the school community, the classroom environment, etc. And then take that out. Yes. You know, if they're wanting to engage into the community, the English language is important to that. So my advice would be to families and with their children to, once they are committing to a decision to send them to Australia, into a school like ours, where specialists for these international students is, yes, commit to English language learning. The stronger the foundations before they arrive, the better place the students will be.
Yes. And what should be the criteria in terms of English requirement for the student?
Well, the IELTS requirement into our Year 11, and this is similar to all schools, government and other independent schools, is 5.0 IELTS. So, and it's an overall band score. It's so it's not extremely high. The other students that we've been fortunate to come into our school have been in international schools here, so they're in a really good position because generally English has been the first language of instruction in those schools. So they've got a head start, if you like. But certainly 5.0, which is very attainable. But it's just making a commitment to that study.
Yes.
And it'll make a big difference. But having said that, they are on a steep learning curve. We offer our own English language program when they're in campus in Melbourne, before they join the school. Intensive English language, so that builds them to a level if we feel their English is not adequate, before, on arrival. So we're sort of specialists in that area, supporting that development, even, once they've arrived.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So you've been working at various schools in Australia, so both private and government schools. What do you as the principal of Holmes Grammar School think this is the best option for the student?
I think because of that international school setting, and I think our results and our success with students speaks for itself. So we're sending students beyond the Year 12 BC completion into some of the big universities. So every year we're sending them to the University of Melbourne, to Monash, to Deakin, and other universities. What they do at the end of Year 12, and they do government exams, and they get what's called an ATAR, which is a ranking score,
yes,
which enables them to use that it's a national score, right?
Yes.
So the BCE is a state-regulated government certificate, but they generate a national ranking, and they can use that score to apply to any university. So in more recent times, we've had students go to City University, ANU,
yes,
Curtin, some of the universities out of South Australia and Adelaide, again, statistically, our number speaks for itself. We have 100% success in students getting university placements beyond Year 12 BCE, and then that other group who are looking at vocational pathways,
yes,
also go to diplomas across the absolute spectrum of courses. Again, not only in Victoria but outside of Australia. So, if this is the end goal, if this is what the parents, and I'm sure it is, what they want to be the ultimate outcome, we do this.
Yes.
And have done for 25 years.
Yes. One question. I think it's a topic of concern for lots of the students in Vietnam. Vietnamese students in Vietnam, they don't have the flexibility in selecting subjects.
Yeah.
When they come to Australia, they have that, and they are confused of, what to study, what to do. And another thing is, in Vietnam, the career guidance is not developed and helpful.
Yeah.
The student definitely struggle with that. What's your insight on?
Yeah, it's good question. It's got two parts to it, and I'll tackle the first part about the curriculum. So we, again, as a school that specialises with students coming from overseas, we think we understand a curriculum that will suit them.
Yes.
Okay? But then we can provide all sorts of offerings and broaden selection English is fundamental. It's a core subject. It's a compulsory subject for everyone's VCE.
Yes.
We offer all the Englishes. We offer every level of maths that VCE offers, from the very low level to the very highest level. Within that, we offer business subjects in accounting and business management, which is a VCE subject. We also offer science in physics, and we also offer languages. And the Vietnamese students specifically can choose Vietnamese first language, which is a VCE subject, which contributes to their overall results. Where we don't offer everything, say a science like chemistry, or traditional science, we will then organise for that to be delivered to the student outside of the classroom. They're still enrolled in our school in that subject, but there is a governmental group that then deliver that subject to the students, like in an online mode.
Yes.
So we will organise enrolment into that, and that student can do a subject that we don't offer for a full class. All right. So we cater for all that. And on the second part of that question about career guidance, I think what's important, I think that's a really valid point to make, and I wondered if that happens in Vietnam. At the end of year 11, when the student's with us, we interview the students one-on-one, and we say, what do you want to do when you finish your VCE, the government certificate? Do you want to go to university? In what area do you want to study? Or do you want to look at vocational study and do a much more hands-on type of qualification that takes you into an area of employment, potentially? We interview every single one of our students, and then we allocate them into those two year 12 groups. So there is counselling. When the students are in year 12, we help them select what university courses and the preferences. There's a system that they go into through an organisation, government called VTAC. It's a tertiary admission group. We help students make those university preferences in August. The course is in November, they get results in December, but in August, they have to select 5 to 7 university and courses. So we help career advise, if you like, course advise those students as well. So we think we have that pretty well covered and have an understanding to support the student.
Yes. So from my understanding, students in high school have to study 6 subjects.
Yeah.
In year 11.
Correct.
And then they have to maintain 5 those into year 12.
That's correct.
Which means they have to decide which career they're going to be taking, or which degree in university, for example, they want to go for.
Yeah, so, some of the courses have a prerequisite VCE study requirement.
Yes.
So, for example, let's take medicine as a very high achieving level of course. The prerequisite for that would be something like chemistry and even biology, and probably the high level of maths.
Yes.
Engineering, we've had students go on. Our top student from Cambodia last year is doing engineering at Monash, and he didn't do any science, but did the high level of maths. So that was a prerequisite requirement. A lot of other courses don't have too many prerequisites, but if they do, it normally relates to the level of maths they do, sometimes the science. So again, you're right. What they select in year 12 the consideration needs to be about what they are wanting to select in university, and if there is a prerequisite requirement. What I will say to you is English language and the level and the result they get for English language is a prerequisite requirement for a lot of courses. So they must get at least, every subject is scored out of 50 at the end of year 12. For most courses, they have to get 30. All right, so that's not too high.
Yes.
But in those, top courses in top universities, they will be saying they must have recorded an English result in their English subject of 30 and above.
Yes. What else do you think that the students, before going to Australia to do to study high school, need to prepare when they are still prior coming to?
Yeah, you know what they need to be? They need to be very focused and very disciplined students. And I look at all the year 10 reports that come out of Vietnam, and I know, so I'm very familiar with the Vietnamese school report. GPA that goes along with that. I look at the individual subject results. Often I'll see their report from not only year 10, but year 9, year 8, year 7.
Yes.
It's often provided. So that's really good to track. The students are they're granted visas on the basis of being a student, right?
Yes.
So what I mean by that is there should be no distraction to them understanding that their number one priority is to study hard and be successful. And having the discipline to do that. They're not granted a working holiday visa or any other type of visa.
Yes.
It is student visa.
Yes.
So in preparation, and this is what I like to see in a school report in Vietnam, is comments. There's not many comments from teachers in the reports, but if I read or see results where it's clear that this student is disciplined, so they need to develop a discipline to be hardworking.
Yes.
And then bring that with them to Australia.
It's an important mindset.
Yeah, exactly right. And they need to commit to study. The challenge can be sometimes they come to Australia, they're studying in a school, they're not living with their parents anymore, they're living in a homestay scenario. Sometimes they can lose focus. Our job is to get them to maintain the focus, what the number one priority is. So, but the mindset, you're right, it is a mindset. Right from here, from Vietnam.
Yes.
Bring it to Australia.
I think it's an important point to mention here. It's super important.
Yeah.
Students in Vietnam, they have to follow lots of rules. Their schedule normally is packed with studying, with tutoring after school. So lots of students finish school at, let's say, 5 p.m. They go to for the tutoring until 9 p.m. Go home, do homework, sleep, get up, and then study again for the whole day. So until the weekend, they have tutoring as well.
Yeah, very similar to the Chinese students. I think it's the students in China even have half a school day on Saturday. I don't know if that happens in Vietnam, but
They do have it.
yeah. So they're used to it.
Yes.
And I want them to bring that discipline again because they are on student visa.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, it's good at that, you know.
Yeah.
It's good that they know that they have to be hardworking.
Yep.
And when I was in Australia, lots of people, they talk about Vietnamese people. You guys are so hardworking. And that's a, very good point of Vietnamese.
Yeah, let me tell you the difference though, which the students quite like. The school day is much shorter than it is in Vietnam. All right, so the school day is 8:40 for the year 12 students, 8:40 to 3:40, okay?
Yes.
Not as long as Vietnam, not as long as China. We try to pack as much in, push them to work very hard in the class,
Yes.
to do extensive homework at year 11 and year 12.
Yes.
But they do have a shorter day.
So just come back to the point that I was mentioning. So it's good that they know that they have to be hardworking. At the same time, they have to do it. They do it because they have to do it. So lots of the time that I mentioned to the parents and the student, it has to be coming from themselves.
Yeah.
They need to understand that why they're doing this. And when they have that in their head, it's gonna be working magically somehow. That all right, let's do it this way so we can efficiently complete or achieve what we've set.
And set's the right word. They need to set goals. They need to know what they are ultimately wanting to achieve and where they're going to go.
Yes.
If they have that in their mind, that drives them to be successful and to complete. If they don't have a goal, and sometimes some students don't, they just think, I'm just doing school, I'm going to finish year 12. They haven't really thought about what they want to do after that. The goal is important because that does drive them. But you're right, it's got to come from them.
Yes.
We can discipline them and we can get parents involved in the conversation, but ultimately it comes down to them.
Yes.
So we try to work with our students, where we have that situation to see if we can motivate and incentivize them.
Yes, for that. And it's absolutely fine for even, there also look side out lost the focus sometimes. And then if they know how to manage their time, their energy from a super early stage, they definitely going to be performing well.
Yeah, you can often tell a student that's established a real work ethic when they come into our school. They've always been good students that have worked hard. But yeah, we work with all our students and they vary in ability, but the goal, they've got to have goals.
Yes.
Right? Got to have goals.
You mentioned the work ethics. I think I want to focus on this point. It's a very interesting point. In Vietnam, everyone's working hard, but they exactly the same as the mindset they do in school. So they have to do it, but it's not coming from themselves. So they do long hours, but they don't put in the focus. While in Australia, I've been working with a lot of high performers, and they really focus on what they're doing. They do long hours and they stay on top of the game every single day, every single time. I think when students they come to Australia, this is a very important point that they can get.
And that could be a good discussion you're having with families and potential students here, saying this is what you really need to bring, this is what you need to have. Yeah, it's true.
Yes.
It's amazing how you get some of those who are totally self-motivated. You don't have to push, they push themselves.
Yes.
They're amazing. There's a maturity about that too.
Yes.
Right? Our top student 3 years ago was a Vietnamese student. She did our English language program. She was incredibly motivated, and she was dux at our school. That means she's number one student in the school. And she's at university now, and at Melbourne Uni. And, amazing, that ability. There's a maturity about those sort of students, but it's a good conversation to have here with families and prospective students, All right, see if you can bring this, okay?
Yes.
So, yeah.
Thank you so much, David, for joining us today. Absolute pleasure having you here today with us. And, hopefully that cleared a lot of things out for our students. And we look forward to, having students at Holmes and, success in the future.
Yeah, we do too. So thank you for the time. It's been good to come back.
Thank you. Thank you, David.